Trader.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to an episode where I don't have a camera. Sorry about that. But we have lots of exciting things. The first most exciting thing is why well, at least I'm live. The second most exciting thing is that you guys are here. Welcome. Today, I'm going to try my best to yet again not fall asleep. That's one of the most important things. Greetings, Kevin from Belgium. Greetings, Fuzzy. We're going to do a lot of crypto talk today. I'm not going to talk too much about stocks. So I'm going to just go a brief overview of the S&P. We're going to look at open interest, repurchase agreements, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to jump right into crypto. So all you people who are super enthusiastic about Bitcoin hitting 52,000, we are going to talk about that. And I'm going to have a warning for you regarding it. But let me just zoom in on this. Repurchase agreements. So we actually stagnated in the month of February. Very interesting to see that we're stagnating here with the repurchase overnight reverse repo agreements. So the interesting thing about that is while that paused, I also have my liquidity map over here, and that's also paused since basically the beginning of February, since January actually, and it hasn't gone anywhere. This green line is essentially the liquidity flushing around in the system, and we can see how it's paused, basically in line with the reverse repo facilities. So if they want, they can pull the money out of the reverse repo and push it into here. And this will go higher and send everything higher. So there is more fuel in the system, I guess, that could be applied if the banks want to. It's just sitting there. So something to keep in mind, and that's why I track this, and I also track over here. Why I track this, because I think it's all connected to this whole thing here. Although not a 1 minute chart. We're going to look at the monthly stuff like that, and weekly chart. Weekly is probably easier to see, right? So here's the weekly, which is connected to a weekly here. We only get updates once a week here on the weekly, because this balance is only updated once a week. The total, unfortunately. Hello, Jonathan. Welcome. Okay, so let's get back to here. That was repurchases. I don't know why I don't have it up, but I wanted to show AI investor sentiment survey. Survey says, what is going on with sentiment here? Let's go to, I don't want to see historical data. I want to go to the original. Okay, sentiment survey. 42.2% bullish. Amazingly, last week we had 49% bullish. These are really high bull factors. It's surprising that in the face of this amount of people being bullish, the market does not pull back. We've never had, it's rare to see over 50% bullish and almost no reversal in the market. So just something to be aware of. And we also have fear and greed historical chart. I want to show you guys this one. Fear and greed, and then one on Bitcoin, or I should say like crypto. I can't remember which is the really good one, but you can see here with CNN's fear and greed index, we're at a 76, which is pretty high, but we've gotten up to 79.81. Wow, here, yeah, 81. Well, we're still only at 76 here. But you can see the market can stay greedy for a very long time before it finally rolls over. And then it can stay fearful for an even longer time. So it is quite the lagging indicator, and very similar to any other momentum indicator. We're in the green phase here as well, you can see. And if we go to the Bitcoin one, Bitcoin, you can see greedy most of the time. Almost always greedy. Very, very little fear, except for back in 2023, right here in the bottom. We'll get into that when we look at Bitcoin. This is not the one I wanted to show, but we will look at it later. Reverb effect. Hello, Jason. All right. So very interesting with investor sentiment data that investors have been extremely bullish, but in the face of that, the market continues to go higher anyway. Let's look at Forex Factory. We'll check the news quickly. Thursday, right here. Unemployment claims came out in line. We did have the big CPI report. That was a miss. That caused the market to have that little temper tantrum. Not really any other news tomorrow. It's going to be a quiet day. Let's see what our max pain is really quickly. See, where do they want to pin it? What is max pain tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow is a big options closing day. Oh, this is big. This is actually really big. Okay, so for max pain, they actually want 49.50. Wow. I'm surprised the market is pushing as hard as it is, considering what is max pain going into tomorrow. Max pain is all the way down here at 49.50. Right? 49.50. Yeah, so they'd want to bring it all the way down to that level. It's surprising the market's rebounding considering the max pain effect. Normally, especially in the middle of the month, it works very well. So surprising to see that. Right now we are at 55.01, so right here. But that's pretty close. I mean, there's not too much of a difference here. Wouldn't be surprised if they pull it back to hit this level, but anywhere between here would make sense from a max pain standpoint. You can actually trade. I think there's some way to trade pins. I used to do it, and you would say like, okay, price is not going to go below 495, and price is not going to go above 501 or 504, and as long as price stayed in that area, you could actually make money. I think is it an iron condor? I forget the name in options land. It's really bad that I'm forgetting, or it might be a butterfly or reverse butterfly. I'll have to look it up, and I'll tell you guys next time, or post in the TRI Discord about it. But it's an interesting strategy that you can use to profit off these pins created by market makers based on open interest with options and max pain. So there, a little bit of a fun fact. Let's check what is going on in the market and see where do we expect it to go from here. So go to a weekly chart. We do have a 7 that's come in on the weekly, and you can see in the past every time a TD 7, 8, and 9 has come in, the market has paused quickly after that, and not. Sometimes it keeps going higher, but a lot of times you do get a multi-week pause and pullback. So that is something to be aware of. Keep in mind this is a weekly chart, so this can be a couple weeks before this fully plays out. You can see stochastic RSI has been embedded bullishly for a very long time. It's amazing how much the market can stay embedded on the bull side versus the bear side. You can see on the bear side, I mean, we were only down here for about 2 months, but meanwhile on the bull side it's April, May, June, July, August, 4 months, and then again November, December, January, February, 4 months, 5 months. It's amazing how much longer the market stays embedded on the bull side instead of the bear side. So always keep that in mind when trading. You have a better chance being correct on the bull side than you ever will on the bear side, because markets are bullish way more often than they are bearish. Let's go to a lower time frame and see what's going on. So 3-day, you've got an 8 as well. No breakdown yet with RSI. It's kind of starting to roll over, but it's just embedded up here. It's really, I mean, look at these numbers over here on the side with RSI. Everything's just bull, 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 bull. And we talked about this before. We've talked about this extensively. And I would draw RSI like this here, and until this daily breaks down from this trend line, it's still full on bull mode. This was just a pullback, touch and go, and we can keep moving higher. So be aware of that. Be very cautious about this move, because it can just keep going. Let's draw a parallel channel in here and see if that gives us any more information. I'm not going to spend too much longer on this, but I think it's important to touch on. So parallel channel, something like that. Sometimes these parallel channels are a little bit tricky. That would be if we go to a 4-hour, we could probably draw a better one. What is going on with this market? Yeah, I can see how this midpoint line acted as a major support. So this is a decent parallel channel of the current progress after the initial impulse higher. This is a big push higher, and then this is the more steady rise up. Yeah, and we have a 9 on the 4-hour that came in, but it's actually getting ignored. It's basically being ignored, and I can see the market pushing higher here. Maybe we take out these highs and we form, let me go to the 4-hour, 8-hour. We'll probably form some type of divergence here where you get price pushing higher and possibly taking out the highs up to 5,060, 5,050 area, and then it'll roll back over again. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. Everything is just way too bullish, and it's hard to imagine a massive pullback just yet. I think it's coming. There is a pullback coming. There has to be. This is just way too overbought on all these higher time frames. But as of right now, I don't see any great shorting opportunities because we're stuck kind of in this parallel channel. So I would for the most part, unless you're in longs already, I would recommend sitting on the sidelines. This is nuts. I mean, this is the worst kind of market where it's basically up only, slow, steady, up only market. I think it's a difficult market to trade, and you have very few opportunities to get into decent positions because you just have these quick doop drop reversal. Hello, Hafed, welcome. So S&P, I would be very careful shorting right now. I think we can still go a bit higher. I need to see a breakdown in RSI. Stochastic RSI does have a divergence. There is a bear divergence here, but RSI has not confirmed it. It's still very bullish looking, and I think you need to wait and watch these lower time frames like the 1 hour to look for some kind of breakdown. And right now I don't see it. Stochastic RSI did pull back, but look how quickly it reversed. So that's something I would watch for to help kind of time a reversal. Also, it helps to draw these fibs, and the shorting zone for that is right here. So this is where you could start looking at shorts and kind of considering market structure and things like that. And it should help you line up your trade where you have your location. Location would be that area, and then you just look for market structure along with basically, indicators like something like RSI, some kind of momentum indicator. And you could use any of these. I actually don't need both of these. They're both very similar. They do very similar things. You just look for that to start to roll over, and that's kind of your three-step setup to get into a possible short for the S&P here. By the way, I think next week I'm going to start doing shows at 10 a.m. Eastern time instead of noon. I was trying to stick with like the same schedule as Brian, where we do it every day at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. But I think that I am much more awake at 10 p.m. than I am at midnight here. I'm finding that midnight I keep falling asleep and getting too tired even if I try to take a nap. And I think my analysis is better when I'm a lot more awake. So I feel like if, just a warning for next Thursday, we might do it at 10 a.m. Eastern time instead of midnight, because I just think I'm too tired by this time to give you guys like really the analysis that you deserve. This time I'm just I'm doing my best, but I can tell the difference between like how I see the market when I'm really awake versus when I'm tired. And that's an interesting thing to consider when you're trading yourself, about like what is your current mental and physical state. Should you be trading right now? Are you extremely sick? Are you extremely tired? Those type of things. You should never trade if you feel I mean, you wouldn't go to the gym, right? And try to hit a PR or even work out, have an extremely difficult workout if you are sick, right? So it's kind of the same with trading. It's just you have to think about your mind. So something that I wanted to point out. I do think this was a big break on the S&P, big breakdown. We did get a quick rebound. It's kind of the same scenario that happened here. We have a quick reversal, take out all the stops, and then reverse higher. So it's the same pattern. It's done multiple times where it just has this V reversal. My final point with this is just you have to watch for momentum indicators to break down, and maybe we tag this 786 area, and then you can start looking for shorts. For now, I'm thinking that we're going to move up higher into this area up here before we finally roll over. Max Payne does say that we should end down here if we want max pain. But looking at the market right now and momentum indicators like RSI, it looks like it wants to push higher up to this area. So kind of a crapshoot either way. I would honestly skip out until Monday and come back fresh on Monday, because these market conditions are not ideal for taking trades. Okay, that's the S&P. We're already 17 minutes in, so I said I would not talk about the market. See, you guys can tell I'm tired because I'm like stuttering. I said that I was not going to talk about legacy markets too much, and I would mostly talk about crypto. So with that, I think I will just jump right into talking about Bitcoin and what I expect to happen with Bitcoin. Maybe we touch on the US dollar really quick. I think it might be good to touch on that. So US dollar rolled over today a little bit, but if we look at the daily chart, it's in this nice uptrend, kind of similar to the S&P, where I need to see a breakdown in RSI here before I can get bearish on the US dollar. Until then, I'm quite bullish, and I think this can continue pushing higher. If this does break down, then, obviously we're probably heading lower, and asset prices should do the reverse. But for now, I'm watching this RSI to see if we roll over at all. So far, nothing. So far, just pullbacks. And look at where the pullbacks happen. 9, pause. 9, pause, pullback. 7, pause, pullback. 8, pause, pullback. These actually work really well on many time frames. Highly recommended. So here's the one I use. Trunomic TDC sequential. Apparently people are having trouble finding this, but I mean, if I'm still using it, it should still be available. So that's the one I would recommend. DXY should reverse and continue higher, and that should cause everything else valued in US dollars to head lower, but stranger things have happened, so we'll have to see. Okay, so that's it with legacy markets. Let's jump right into crypto and talk about what is going to happen with Bitcoin. What is going on? Are you going to get liquidated? The answer is probably not, if you're following TRI and if you've taken our education programs. Brian is in El Salvador, by the way, guys, in case you were wondering. He's safe and sound. Okay, so 3-day chart. This is my uptrending channel for Bitcoin. And if you're curious what these fibs are, they are the original fib levels that I drew from the lows to the highs. I found that they lined up much better when I drew it at this point rather than drawing it all the way at the top here. So that's how I kept it. So now we're at 78.6 point, and we've touched, look how it reversed perfectly. So look at this on a daily. See how it perfectly tagged and reversed off the top of this uptrending parallel channel. And we have a TD9. So those are two red flags staring at me like, okay, look, this might be a good area to take profit. This might be a good area to short a little bit. This might be a good area to just sit on the sidelines and do nothing but twiddle my thumbs. You can see we've been in this consistent parallel channel rising since basically since last year, 2023. And now we've run into the top of this parallel channel, and the question is, can it break through and then go on a huge do it basically, if it breaks through here, you'll get a massive impulsive move. People call it teleporting in crypto, where you just get like a huge green candle. That's what would happen if we push through this. The reverse may happen if we push lower. You can see all these time frames are super overbought, by the way. Weekly, daily, and the 8-hour, 12-hour. I think this is 12-hour, and the 12-hour. We've got TD8s and 9s all over the place. So be very careful. Yeah, that's Alexa. That's a very dangerous thing to say, considering what I'm seeing here. This is a massive wall right here. If we push through it, yeah, it's gonna fly. But more likely than not, we should get a pullback. Right now on the 4-hour chart, you can see that RSI is still quite bullish. There's no breakdown here. No breakdown at all. So the teleportation can happen. This is the green light that this can happen. But I think this is an optimal area to consider taking a short. And then the next question is, well, where would the short go to? Where's your pullback? Well, we can use two different things. We can look at chaos and see where that kind of points to. Like that. That points to 49,000. Or we can look at fibs. And we can do this. And we can look at where is our 38.2 reversal zone. There to there. And 38.2 is basically in the same area. 48,800, 4,900, 49,000. Sorry, not 4,900. 49,000 or 48,000. That's kind of the area we could see it pull back to before pushing higher. Or if the S&P really does fall apart and roll over, which I'm looking for it to do because I also think it's super overbought, that would probably pull Bitcoin a lot lower than this initial estimate. That's something, just something to keep in mind. I would not max long Bitcoin here, because if you do, you're just kind of asking to be liquidated. So be very careful with that. You're at the top end of the range. I think a short to the downside makes a lot more sense. Let's see what your risk reward is. If you shorted at market price right now, set your stop above the high and put your target at 38.2. So your risk reward ratio is 4-to-1. That's pretty good, right? I mean, you can be wrong 4 times, and as long as you're right that one time, you'll make your money back. Oh. So that's something to consider. I think it's a good trade opportunity. And I know people are super bullish on the crypto space right now, but it's almost too obvious. But I think it's something to pay attention to and not ignore, that this has major potential to reverse and head lower, especially down to this 48,000, 47,000 area. I don't see why that can't happen at all. And you can see how price on the way up respected a couple things. Like this is the 21 EMA and this is the 50 EMA on a 4-hour chart. You can see how the 21 was well respected. Price could easily push down here, bounce, and then push lower, hitting into this 49,050 EMA area and bounce off that. It's often acted as resistance and support. Tesla new W head and shoulders. Josh wants to look at something with Tesla and is throwing me off track with my discussion on Bitcoin. But I'm not surprised by that. All right, well that's Bitcoin. Let's look at total, see if it's any different or it kind of looks the same. Yeah, it's basically almost the same. I do want to reverse this chart. Okay, something like that, or we tag 61.8. Yeah, the total does not look as bad as the Bitcoin chart. It looks quite a bit stronger, but you do still have that 9 that came in. So it's kind of similar chart. Let's look at alts, where it's basically everything except for without Ethereum and without Bitcoin. Weekly chart. A little bit of a divergence here, not confirmed obviously, but a little bit on RSI. 3-day has a 7 coming in. Daily has a 9, exactly the same as Bitcoin. It's exactly the same. So I'm not really that surprised by what I'm seeing here. But you did get a breakout. That's what I'm seeing for total 3. Do I want to talk about anything else really? Any coins? I saw something earlier today that I thought was interesting, but the fact that Bitcoin needs to pull back is concerning to me. So I think I'm not going to share the coin today that I saw that I thought was interesting. But let's see how the market shakes out over the next week, and then if things look a little bit better, I might share a couple that I think are pretty good. No, it's not Ant, Michael. Joshua said something about Tesla, so let's jump back to legacy and see what's happening here. Tesla new W head and shoulders. Oh, okay, so I see what he's talking about. Well, to be fair, this didn't close yet, right? So we need to see this daily candle close above all of this. But yeah, I see what you're talking about. And then you've got target of 241. What is your risk reward with that? If you longed right now, market longed. 240 is up here. So still 23% return, but the risk reward is not great. So I think you need to wait for price to come back if you missed it already. And even then, it's difficult, maybe a little bit lower. And then you kind of get a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, which is not bad. So Tesla at 185 and targeting 2030, I think, which is this is basically the 200-day moving average. So there's a reason that's the target. And you get a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. Not bad. That's not a bad trade, but we need price to pull back a little bit. And it's looking like at this moment, it doesn't look like it wants to. What else? I have a couple coins I guess I could share in the after party. I was originally going to wait for the market to shake out and talk about them next week, but maybe I just talk about them in the after party. I think that's a better idea. Usually we like to keep these shows for about 30 minutes, so we're at 30 minutes. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will jump into the after party, where I will go over any and all crypto names that you want to watch or want to look at. See, I know I'm tired because I'm saying weird words. All right, see you guys in the after party. Thank you very much. Bye, guys.